Many salutations to viewers and coins of the vault alike. I am Tatsumari, the self-proclaimed keeper of Maple Story lore. There are many who do it, but I am the only one who does it like me. Ha ha ha! Welcome everybody to the stream. Tonight is opening it up to everybody who would like to be part of it. I am going to be reading stories that you have written live, complete with my own little flair of reading, voice acting and reading and stuff like that. So feel free to submit your stories at any time. Most of the fun stuff is happening over on my Twitch channel. However, for those of you watching on YouTube, you are more than welcome to also participate in this. This is not just exclusively on Twitch. I'll kind of maybe figure something out how to do something a little bit more on the YouTube side of things, so that way it's not quite so ad-lib. But, yeah, for everybody here, you're more than welcome to participate in it. And, okay, so there are a few rules that I would like you guys to follow before you start bombing chat and stuff in there. Let me see if I can kind of get this set up a little bit differently so I can see everything in a glance. Justina Leo, welcome over on the YouTube side. I keep that information private, especially, only those who are closest friends of mine actually know that. So I usually keep that information private to myself. Anyway, let's see. What was I doing? Right. Go out in the yard over here for all this stuff. Now, what I'm going to be doing while we're waiting for submissions, this thing behind me, for those of you on YouTube, and this over here, for those of you on Twitch, I'm going to be editing this story while waiting for submissions. However, there are a few rules that I would like you to follow before starting submit stuff. And they are on the screen there on both sides. So I'll go over them right now. First and foremost, again, most of the fun stuff is over on Twitch, but you can, we'll figure how to make something work over on the YouTube side of things. But number one, for the Twitch, you can use the excerpt reading for fun for 300 Scales channel reward to make sure that your submission is put into a queue so that I don't miss it. After redeeming this reward, you can send me a Google Docs share link or a Royal Road or Archive of Our Own, Fanfiction, wherever, Wattpad, Inkit, wherever you might have it posted, and I will read it. However, for those of you on Twitch, following and becoming a coin in the vault will instantly provide you the needed 300 scales. Quite interesting, wouldn't you say? Oh, well, it's probably just a coincidence. Rule 2. I will read roughly 1,000 words of your submission. If it is way over that limit, I will try to highlight roughly 1,000 words of your submission, and I will read that. Don't worry if your submission is under 1,000 words. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be 1,000 words and over. But, if it is under it, don't worry. And if your submission is longer than 1,000 words, but you wish me to read it, there are other channel rewards on the Twitch side of things to have read. They may cost more scales, but they come with other goodies as well. So be sure to check those out. Rule 3. Please try and keep your submissions around the PG-16 level in their content and kind of within the TOS of either Twitch or YouTube. I don't want to get banned, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to ban me either, especially with how weird the algorithm is being lately. So, still trying to figure that all out. Rule 4. These readings are not an alpha or a beta read, nor are they a critique of the content when using this reward. These are for fun and will be read as is, mistakes and all. Oh, we got Blover is now a coin of the vault over on YouTube. Welcome to the vault, and I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see here today. Okay, let me finish up the rules over here. And don't worry, if English is not your first language, I will try to read it so that it still does make sense. And Rule 5, if you are not present for your story being read, I will not read it. 1, so that way in case there are words that I need some help pronouncing, that I can get some pretty quick feedback. And 2, so that way you can hear your story brought to life. Other than that, yeah. So, for those of you on YouTube, if you do wish to submit a story that to be read, what you can do, let's see. I do have both chats up, so it's going to take me a second to try, make sure I keep both chats going. See if you can put like in all caps, read my story, and then like dash and then like a link to the story. I will still try to, take a look at every story first before I just, blast it all over the internet because, I don't want to get banned on either side. It's taken a while to get here. Ethan Pinnell. Is this about we have to write a story and you have to read it and we will get rewards based on it? No. For those of you on the YouTube side of things, most of the rewards, what I'm talking about is the channel rewards on Twitch. There is a little animation that pops up if you do hold on, let me see. I need to adjust something on my side. Okay. So, when you redeem the reward, it will, I think, let's see, will it come through? Oh no! Uh-oh. Okay, well anyways, let me see. I need to check a thing because things be stupid sometimes. But anyways, there's supposed to be a little, like, animation that happens. Okay, oh, no. Huh. Okay. That's weird. Oh, that's why. Okay, never mind. Okay, so that's the message that pops up in chat on the Twitch side of things. But, let's see, will it pop up on the YouTube side?
Seems simple enough.
Hopefully all the audio came through. That's what happens on Twitch, the Twitch side of things. For the YouTube side of things, if you have a story that you want me to read live on stream, that is what it boils down to for those of you on YouTube. Well, it doesn't have to be 1,000 words or under. It can be along within like 30 words of 1,000. But if your submission is over that, I will highlight roughly 1,000 words in that particular submission. If it's already built out and it's more than 1,000 words, I'll just read 1,000 words of it. It doesn't necessarily have to be, just 1,000 words. All right, let me see. Did I? Yes, there it is. Yay! All right, Lucilor. It's all good. So hopefully, Justina Leo, hopefully that answers your question on that. But for those of you on YouTube, like I was saying, if you would like me to read something you wrote, a story of some kind you wrote, then put in all caps for the YouTube chat, if you have something you would like me to read live on stream, put in all caps, read my story, and then the link to whatever it is. If it's a Google Doc share link, great. If it's somewhere else, put the link to that. Just remember to keep the rules in mind for before you submit, and that's what it is. It's more so for fun, just to get your stories out there. You don't have to be an amazing writer. This is just to get stories out there, That's all it really is to it. Alrighty. Okay, so for the Twitch audience, there is an ad break that's going to be starting. So, for the YouTube audience, there's going to be a little bit of a break. So I will be right back because I also have to go get myself a bottle of water so that I don't, completely break my voice. So we shall be back in a little while after these massages. All right, I am back. I've got my water. My vocal cords are nice and lubricated now. And Ethan Pennell, oh boy, that doesn't sound very fun. Sorry about your hamster. Anyways, actually, you know what? Black Iris, welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good evening. And I think I sent you a message back, but tonight we are reading stories written by viewers tonight. Viewers and Coins of the Vault. There are a few rules. For those of you who are on Twitch, there are those rules over there. And for the YouTube viewers, you can check those rules up there. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. So yeah, and then while I'm waiting for submissions for the Twitch audience, it's this story right here, and for the YouTube audience, it's the one back here behind me. So yeah, I'll be editing that while we're waiting for submissions. So, if I can get the last little bit of a thing going, let me see. Ha ha ha! You found one, Losilor. Nice. All right. Let me see.
Seems simple enough.
Oh, we got our first submission of the evening, ladies and gents. Let's go. Alrighty. So, Losilor, what have you got for us? Okay, let's see. There we go. Got some tunes all tuned up for myself over here. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm listening to, normally I would have this being played over stream, but because this is on YouTube, I'm probably going to get it muted, so I don't want that to happen. Here is the song that I'm currently listening to. It is a kind of a medieval, like, pub kind of music kind of thing going on. Feel free to listen along with me as stuff goes along so that we can have some ambiance in the background. You are more than welcome to listen to it as loud or as quietly as you so desire. Maybe some typos. It's sort of a villain backstory I wrote on my phone on break at work, but it still holds up. All right. Yeah, sure. Lay it on me. You should be able to put the, like, whatever link it is in the Twitch chat over there, and it should be able to pop up. All right. So, let me do this for now. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. So, I see the title of it here is Home Cooked Meal. Is that the title of the excerpt? Title of the story it's going in? What's the title here? Okay, so there it is. For those of you who are watching this over on YouTube, there is going to be a mention of a little bit of extra... A little bit of mention of violence or something like that. It had to be Google Docs. What about it's whatever link it is, wherever you have it linked on. That's the only link I'll need. And for those of you on YouTube, like I said, there is going to be mention of a little bit of violence in here. Hopefully it doesn't get too bloody, but we shall see. Let me see. All right. Does not seem. It's title of the excerpt. It's a blurb I wrote about by BBEG and his ally kind of forming a bond. Okay. Alrighty, so let me get this. Oops. It's a little bit. It is a little bit off for the viewing audience. Sorry about that. me see. Come on. Play nice. There we go. A little bit, at least for what it sounds like. All right, so this is Home Cooked Meal by Losilor from Twitch. It shouldn't have been possible. The deal was foolproof. No man could achieve the terms required of him. And yet, here they stood. His impossible terms met, and he had yet to pay up. And yet, he'd seen it with his own eyes, even could see how he'd done it. He still didn't believe it. Looking to the soul who patiently waited for the shock to wear off so that he could receive payment for his services rendered. How the hell did you get a hold of a priest? You know my favorite meal. It was honey-glazed ham. My mother made it perfectly. A simple enough meal to be sure, but the way she cooked it, that was what home tastes like. Father didn't care for it. Then again, he didn't care for most things. She did for him. Even if he did, admitting it would mean he'd have to put in some effort. No. If he didn't like it, he could just demand more and more pieces of her, until there was nothing left to give, and oh, did he take from everyone around him. Wouldn't be shocked if he'd ended up in your neck of the woods when I had enough of him. The demon knew the game the man was playing. It was redirection, but not completely. There was something in how amused he was by the whole thing. He had showed his hand with all the finesse of a magician hiding something in plain sight, and even the demon wasn't quite finding the answer through the smoke and mirrors. I'll never forget the night I killed him, but not because of him. I remember doing it, and more or less what I did to him. Can't say I remember him much, though. I couldn't tell you what he looked like other than terrified. I can't recall the precise give of his flesh or the feel of his blood on my skin. I remember thinking how pathetic he sounded, thinking that his screaming and squealing sounded like a dying pig. But for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what it specifically sounded like. Nothing about the act itself stayed in my mind after I was done, still dripping in blood. Mother found me. She didn't go in to see or ask me anything, but she knew what I'd done. I remember the feel of her pulling me close and the smell of flour in her hair from baking. Hold on, give me a second here. There we go. I remember the single relieved sob being the only tears she shed for him that I ever knew about. I remember the smile she wore to try to hide the sorrow in her eyes, thinking what I had done was for her. She asked me what I wanted for dinner that night, and we had honey ham with apples and homemade biscuits. I even remember how cool and crisp the water we drank was more than him. I suppose there may be a gator or two that remember what was left of him that night, the way I remember that meal. I waited after that. I'm not one for mercy, but I didn't want to ruin whatever image of her son she had imagined me to be. She didn't deserve to have that ruined for her. So I waited until she had passed on to do anything that she'd have to find out about. And even beyond that, I waited to come looking for you. Let me think she passed on February 9th, so that would have been July 9th. I stood at the crossroads. Yes, I do recall it being unbearably hot that day, even without the fire. The demon was getting beyond irritated at this point, trying to sort out what was superfluous and what the smug bastard was waving right in front of his face. Not that he was letting any of it show. No way in hell he'd give him anything else to be so pleased about. The man shrugged, looking away from him, sighing a long, contented sigh, staring at the sunset, like a man pleased with the results of all his work. As he should be, whether the demon liked it or not. But enough of me wandering through memories that serve little purpose to me, let alone anyone else. Come now. Once I've received my due, why not I treat you to dinner tonight? I understand our kind are quite partial to honey, and while I must admit I never was able to get it quite how she made it, a good glazed ham is worth just as much as the people I damned you to say. I damned to you, I'd say. Consider it a humble thank you for giving me this unique opportunity. All right. Big claps in the chats for Losilor. That was awesome. And I look forward to the story this comes from. Sorry I didn't get back to you. Thank you, Losilor. And Blue Arrow Rated Hands 477. Sorry I saw you come in, but sorry for the delayed response on that. Welcome. All right. But yeah, like going back to Black Iris over here, it does not have to be a specific Google Docs link. I just mentioned that because it's easier to have, like, to do a word count as to make sure that it's, like, you know, kind of under 1,000 words, or if it has, like, more than that, so I can highlight out 1,000 words. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a Google Docs share link. It can be from Wattpad, Inkit, AO3, fanfiction.net. It's easiest on a Google Docs, but it doesn't have to be there. So anyways, yes, let's get some dragon's hearts in the chat for Losilor. And I don't think I have the emote over here on this side over here for the YouTube, but we'll do this one for Losilor's story. Alrighty. Now, I need to do a thing on my side, so give me just a second here, guys.
Seems simple enough.
Oh, we're on a roll here tonight. Black Iris with the next one. All right. Give me a second here. I'm just working on something on my side, and I will get right to that here in a second. So, just a minute. All right. Okay. So I got that underway. Alrighty. So. Let's see. Well, don't, like I said, don't worry if it's under 1,000 words. The 1,000 words is just kind of a limit, so that way we don't just go bonkers with, hey, I got a 20,000 word story over here. Read this. Creative, how you doing, man? All right, so this is a story by, let's see, do you want your Wattpad name or your Twitch name? Creative. No. If you have, let's see. If you have all the points. Yeah, if you have points, you can still do, 1,000 words at a time. It's more so just so that way we can have, if there are lots of submissions, that I can be sure to get to all of them. All right. So, this is, let's see if I can do it, is Marum's Adventure by Black Iris on Twitch or by Loborus on Wattpad. Pilot. Released bird. I was living a lonely life on that floating island. All kids my age got their wings, except me. I was an outcast. Maybe not getting my wings influenced me, but I was hating this place. I was dreaming of living on the land below. One night, I overheard some ranked officer ask my mother about my father. It sounded like they were suspecting he wasn't from their Air Gale race. That would explain why I didn't get my wings. Then, they said that I can't be allowed to live there if that's the case. Exactly a month later, Mom asked me to go with her late at night. She took me to some guards. They forcefully pulled me from Mom. They flew me down and Mom stayed behind. She didn't say a word. Not even goodbye. There were tears in her eyes, but I can't believe she would let them banish me without doing a thing or preparing me. When they flew off, leaving me behind, I was a bit shocked, to say the least. But the night view and everything was so much better than in the books. If nothing else, that was the start of a better life, I think. All right. Let's get some claps in the chat for Black Iris for her story. Let's get some dragon hearts in the chat. Yes! Well done. So, for those of you who would like to read this later on, both YouTube and on Twitch, here is the link to the story if you would like to read it in full. Be sure and check it out, and let Black Iris know that you stopped by and that I told you to do so. So yeah, hopefully I gave your start a good did your start some justice there. All right, so let me get back down to where I was before. All right, cool. So, in the meantime, while we're waiting for some more submissions, I am going to be doing some more editing on Maple Story, the novel, chapter... Let's see. This is actually Guardians, and this is chapter 7, I believe it is, that I'm working on. I'll have this uploaded to Inkit and Wattpad, and also edited on fanfiction.net and AO3 shortly. It's about... Oh, wow, the chapter is one of the long ones. It's 35 pages long. Whew! So, it's a long one, but do not fear. You can put your submission in at any time. There is no given time to say, this is the time to submit, or this is time not to submit. The whole thing is open. You can submit at any time. So yeah. And if you do have the points, you can submit again. There is nothing stopping you. But like I said, there are other channel rewards that you can look for. Yes, they do cost more scales, but they come with other goodies. So, yeah, be sure to check them out. In the meantime, I hope you stick around for a story of my own creation. Sunova! I think I caught you. I saw you did the first one or something like that. Yeah, except for those. Those are... those are unstoppable sometimes. So yeah, I did see you come in and grab the first one. I think we were still in the intro, so that's why I didn't say anything. But yeah, I did see you there. All right. Yoink! Evil kitty. All right. So, all right, here we go. Tayroon, I have come to employ your skills once more, the boy persuasively said. The boy... Okay, I see what's going on here. Said persuasively. Smiling and raising his hand while throwing his fingers forward. Insisted. Okay. Give me a second here. Oops. I swear. And by the way, for either chat, if as I'm reading this or as you're listening and you think you see something that could be done better, you have a question or a comment or a suggestion or anything like that, feel free to say something, because I do not consider myself a professional writer in any sense of the word. I'm more of a hobbyist than anything, and I'm just here to have fun and get better at the craft altogether. So, yeah. The boy insisted, smiling and raising his hand while throwing his fingers forward. Golden threads shot out from his... Golden threads shooting out. Tayroon leaned to the side, avoiding the strings and standing. Avoiding the strings as he stood.
You cannot control me any longer, Goblin. I have broken your hold over me.
Tayroon replied, opening his eye under his furrowed brow, while his massive paws glided through movements until coming to rest in a fighting stance. That may be true, but a puppet can never outrun his master. Tayroon swiftly swung his paw at the young boy, who stopped the powerful blow with his hand. Tayroon turned to swipe again, but he was flung back against the wall and held there when the small boy clenched his fist. You will be my puppet once more, Tayroon. Otherwise, the master will unleash his armies onto the very place you used to call home.
You can't do this. I will not be your slave,
the bear snarled, struggling against the invisible force holding him in place. You will be my puppet, and you will never be forgiven for your deeds, Goblin said, though through clenched teeth as he approached. Holding the tips of his fingers out, threads of golden light extended all around Tayroon's body. The boy then moved his fingers, forcing Tayroon to kneel on the ground, while reaching for his cheek. You've improved your will a great deal, Tayroon. It still won't be enough to resist me.
No! No!
Matthew strolled to the docks where the letter directed him. As he neared, he began looking for Lily-Ann in her familiar armor, but didn't see her. As Matthew scanned the cove at the end of one dock, a heavy sigh escaped him. Either Matthew was too late, or it was a mean prank. The thought made him remember his middle school years when he received a note from his crush at the time, only to find it was a prank by one of his classmates. I was getting worried, thinking you weren't going to come, Lily-Ann said, as she walked up behind him. Matthew perked up, a smile spreading on his face. I was beginning to think as he turned around. It doesn't... I see. As he turned around, he cut his sentence short. Instead of Lily-Ann dressed in armor with a halberd slung over her shoulder, she was dressed... She was dressed in a white kimono, edged in golden yellow with a pale blue obi tied around her trim waist. I'm pretty sure I got that description wrong, but I'm only using what I know. So hopefully I got it right. If I didn't, let me know and I'll correct it. I do know I'm probably wrong with my description here, but you know what? Let me see if I can actually bring up how I was trying to describe her, if it's going to cooperate. No, it's not going to cooperate. Dang it! I would have showed you like the character sprite of this girl that I'm trying to use, but it's the site that I use for whatever reason is very slow in loading, so it's not really worth it. Okay. her hair draped over one shoulder in a white cascade with a sky blue hibiscus tied into her hair. Matthew could only stare in silent awe. "What? Is something wrong with it?" Lillian asked, looking over her outfit. Matthew shook himself out of his trance as he stammered for an answer. No, you look... It's beautiful," he answered, stumbling over words as he tried to find better ones to describe what he saw. "Okay, hold on. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can find another way to kind of show you kind of what I'm working with." Okay, so... Oops. Oh, come on. Oh, wait, no. Here we go. All right, so this, in the game MapleStory, this is the character of Aran. Whoa. No, I want to stay there. I want to move you over. This is the character of Aran. For the story of MapleStory the novel, this is the character of Lillian. She's not quite this heavily armored. She's missing the pauldron on her shoulder there, as well as the little shield. So she doesn't quite look like this. She actually looks like the old version of Aran that used to be on MapleStory. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I think this is the old one. Yeah, this is the old design that they had for the female Aran for a while. So this is kind of the version of Lillian that I am working with. Kind of description of kind of what she looks like. But for the particular part in the story that I am working with, she is wearing a white kimono with a blue, like one of those really thick blue ribbons that are usually tied around the waist. I think it's called an obi, but I could be very wrong. So don't take it to heart. Anyways, for the story, Lillian, she stands about 6'3", and Matthew here, he's about 5'8". So she is taller than he is. But yeah. I could be wrong. I think maybe Lillian is even taller than that, but she's taller than he is. And at this point in the story, she could bench press him. He answered, stumbling over words as he tried to find better ones to describe what he saw. Lillian smiled and walked to him, putting her arms around his and his to pull him closer. Matthew instantly froze when she pulled on his arm. Surprised and a little intimidated by her strength. Well then, let me show you around. After stopping by Matthew's parents' hut for an umbrella, Lillian led him around Herbtown, located a few minutes west of the camp for the next 2 hours. It wasn't much more than just a portside village. Or, it was much more than just a portside village. It was an actual city. They wandered from small gift shops to herb stands and street performers, stopping for a bit to get an ice cream sundae to share or look at some trinket. Lily Ann was having the time of her life escorting the guardian swordsman of Osiria, which was something that she used to dream of as a child. She would often daydream about who the guardian swordsman would be between her training sessions. As she grew older, Lily Ann found herself wondering if this famed swordman would be someone who would take any interest in her as a woman, since her body was much less feminine. However, when Matthew commented on her looking beautiful, her doubts and worries faded away and spurred her to want to know more of who Matthew was. Or about who Matthew was. Dances with Balrog happened to see them near noon, just as they were leaving a shop.
Matthew, have either of you... Well, Lily Ann, you look stunning. I bet Matthew thinks the same.
Lily Ann nodded her thanks, while Matthew's cheeks flushed, looking away in hopes that neither of them would see.
I hate to interrupt your date.
Dad, seriously, we're not on a... Matthew cut himself short, realizing what they had been doing, and looked back at Lily Ann. Or is it? Lily Ann smirked and pulled him closer. Thalkyar! Welcome, welcome. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. We had a couple submissions tonight. One by Black Iris, another one by... Let me look back over here to see what was going on. By Losilor, near the beginning of the stream. So yeah, we're off to a good start tonight. Yeah. How about you, man? Got any projects you're working on? Okay, I can't. Ooh, oh, so I don't know where that came from. Still procrastinating on Cassandra's story by doing fanfic. Well, sometimes you just need to work on something else, and then you'll be like, ah, there we go. That you put that in there. Lily Ann smirked and pulled him closer until Dances cleared his throat and started again. Been overthinking her story for a while, so I need a break. Yeah. Usually, sometimes that happens with me. Sometimes you get into like a thinking loop, and it's just like, your brain like feels like it's gonna explode if you don't do anything else. And then you're just like, well, you know what? Let me just brain. Like you reach in your head, you take your brain out, you uninstall that chip, put in a different chip, and then put your brain back in, and it's like, okay, different story. I've seen the others. Yeah, you are getting something done. Have seen the others. Doing the whole computer thing. Have you tried shutting it down and turning it back on again? Okay. I've seen the others. Okay. I don't quite understand, but we'll see.
I came to ask if either of you has seen the others,
Dances asked. Matthew quickly answered. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen them since breakfast. We were going to meet back here at noon for lunch or something after exploring for a while. Maybe they took shelter somewhere in case it was going to start raining? It does look pretty dark. Dances nodded as Grendel came floating down from his search above the town.
Have you had any luck, Grendel?
Dances called.
Have you had any luck, Grendel?
Dances called.
Not a lick.
Grendel replied. Matthew pulled his arm away from Lillian. What's the matter? Is there something they should be worried about? As he spoke, a light mist began to fall on them, steadily growing stronger, forcing him to open the umbrella. This is my older work now, since the files are open and found the script for episode 1 of a TV series I entertained trying to write once upon a time. I'm not gonna lie, still dig it. Some parts of the story have worked their way into my current work. You know, it was actually kind of funny, talking about a script of, something for a TV series. Me and my brother, when we were younger, we watched all 3 of the Back to the Future movies. And then once we were done, we actually got to thinking, what would it be like if they were to do another remake of the Back to the Future? And this was before 2012, or was it 2000 or 2015? I think it was when he was supposedly supposed to go from the 80s. I thought it would have been neat is if they did like an anniversary movie of Back to the Future, to where now Marty was the Doc, who played the role of the Doc, and they were like trying to, I don't exactly know what the story would have been, maybe something similar to where the first one went, but to, instead of going back to like the however long it was from when they were to when Marty's parents met, do that same thing from like 2015 to back to when the first movie happened. But the car they would use instead of a DeLorean would have been like one of the supercars at the time. I think it was a one of the brand new ones that just came out was like a Lamborghini Murcielago, or like a Ferrari 458. I think it was at the time. I have to look it up now. Let's see. The 488, that's what it was. Okay. Either that or maybe like probably a Mustang, which was still, a very popular car even back then. Maybe even I think maybe there was a new Camaro, I think. I have to look it up. Yeah, I think one of the new Camaros had come out then. Something along those lines that would have been comparable to how like cool the DeLorean was back in the first movie. The whole, if you're going to travel through time, why not do it in style, We tried to think of a story of why they would have had to gone back in time in the first place, but I thought it would have been neat. But it's kind of one of those things that it's probably better that they didn't do a new anniversary version, especially for around 2015 when they were supposedly supposed to go. Because the three movies as they are, if you try to make a modern sequel, it really will ruin where the movie stopped off. As it gained strength. Listen, there is.
Its name is Tayroon. He was seen near the village. His master, Nogong, attempted to speak with him, but he didn't respond and disappeared shortly after.
Wait, that big bear from Mulong? The boss monster? Matthew asked, bewildered.
Yes. The game portrayed Tayroon being under the control of the Goblin King. That is not entirely the case.
Here in Osiria.
Tayroon was training in the woods when a man, or rather a boy, commented on his skill and introduced himself as Gobin. He turned away from him for only a moment and was rendered unconscious. When he awoke, he found his claws covered in blood, having slaughtered many of his friends. Nogong, Dugong, and Tayroon all searched for a way to break the curse placed on him, but to no avail. The episodes of slaughter became more frequent. Each time, Rune would have no memory of the event, waking in his bed covered in blood, or finding himself amid dozens of bodies and burning buildings. Nogong later found that Tayroon's actions happened while he was asleep. To prevent further loss, Tayroon left the village for many years, intensely meditating to gain control once more. Through his meditations, he found that his puppet master was a boy following the Black Mage, Francis.
Lillian lowered her brow and crossed her arms. Wait, Francis is dead. Why is there a need to be worried? Lillian demanded. Oops. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. All right, we're back.
Grendel shook his head. Disturbing sightings have been reported of the child puppeteer near the cave of Tayroon these past 12 hours. If the others are still out in the forest, Francis may use Tayroon to kill them. Rune is far more powerful than they can handle right now. So we must get them back quickly,
Grendel said, as the rain became heavier. Lillian tapped Matthew's arm, pulling up the bottom part of her kimono and readying to sprint. Matthew, meet me at the east entrance of the village. I'm going to get my armor and halberd. Matthew nodded as she dashed away in a flash of swirling blue wind. Dances followed Matthew back to the house as he quickly changed into his armor.
Matthew, do you know that you're going up against something that you aren't ready for? Or, you do know that you're going up against something you aren't ready for, don't you?
Matthew, you do know that you are going up against something you aren't ready for, don't you? Matthew looked back as he sheathed the black scimitar hard over his shoulder. I won't know until I try. Oops. He said as wispy red flames rose from his shoulders while he donned his golden Gaia. Dances shook his head and grabbed his axe to run after them. Matthew was stubborn and determined, but with his current level of power, there would be no way he would be able to come out alive. Oh. What's going on here? Oh. Cool. Jack jerked his head up from his knees after falling asleep. He had no idea what it was that jerked him awake, but he was glad that it did. The fire had died to coals, letting the cold from the rain outside dig into his... letting the rain's cold dig into his being. He found a few more logs and threw them in to revive the fire. Helen slept crumpled up next to him for warmth. He watched her for a bit, reaching out his hand to brush aside a lock of her hair, when he pulled his hand back and shook his head. There's nothing there. We're just close friends, he thought, when something felt like it was coming closer. Something felt like it was approaching. Looking to the mouth of the cave, he thought he saw something walking towards them. It was large, whatever it was. With drooping arms, glowing white eyes, and over its left eye looked to be old scars. Jack realized that it was Tayroon. Jack soon recognized the figure as Tayroon. In the game, he was a level 71 boss monster. Speaking of which, this particular description is of Tayroon either shortly before or shortly after the Big Bang update of MapleStory. There was no telling how tough he would be in the real world. Helen, come on, we gotta go now, he called in a low voice, shaking Helen and hoping that whatever was coming hadn't seen or heard them yet. Just a bit longer, she muttered, moving closer to Jack and pulling her arms tighter around herself. Putting his arms under her, he was about to run until a breeze blew through the cave and a giant shadow stood over him.
"Are you Jack?"
the shadow asked with a growl. Helen let out a scream when she opened her eyes as Tayroon raised his paw. He barely missed them when Helen teleported both of them outside, where Jack began sprinting.
"You won't get far,"
Rune muttered, hitting Jack with a hard jab. With a stiff jab, sending them both sprawling across the ground. Okay, so for my Twitch viewers, we do have an ad break coming up. And for my YouTube viewers, this is just going to be a little thing where you're going to have a little tiny animation waiting for me to come back. So, what's going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and run the ad, and we shall be back after these massages. So, don't go anywhere. All right, taking my break, got everything back underway, so let's get back out in the yard and continue with some more editing writing. Rune was about to strike Helen when she teleported to a branch above her. Rune. Oops. Hit the soaked ground with like thunder. Then tore through the branch with his claws. Helen's side flipped away, attempting to fire a sacred arrow, only to realize her staff. She didn't have her staff. Instead, Helen threw her hands out, hurling out a bolt of lightning, only to be caught by Rune and thrust back. Wait. Hurling out a bolt of lightning by Rune and thrust back. And tried to block the incoming bolt. And threw her arms to the side, summoning a wall of flames to absorb the electricity. Jack scrambled to his... Wait. Okay, that works a little better. Scrambled to his feet, fists glowing as a hard punch slammed into Tayrune's gut, sending the bear skidding across the mud. Jack rushed to him, pummeling Rune with thunderous punches. Jack launched into his twister punch. But Rune stopped it, nearly twisting the boy's arm in half while clenching hard enough to break some of his fingers. Jack howled in pain, trying to pull his hand from Rune's grip. Until... when the bear swept Jack's feet from under him. Rune's grip. The bear swept with a swing of his arm, breaking his leg before brutally thrusting him away through the mud. Helen teleported to him and steadied him before summoning a wave of ice, freezing the rain as it roared towards Rune. Tayrune ran through it and stood over them in a flash, drawing back his paw for a strike when a shuriken hit Rune's wooden handguard, spinning him as hot pink flames billowed. The motion spun him as hot pink flames billowed around his fist. Puddles splashed as Olsen rushed toward Rune, punching him in the face, where a pinkish ghost melted into his skin. Rune's eyes turned green. As Olsen disappeared again. Jenny helped pick up Jack. Helen would need more time than just a quick touch to heal his wounds. Taerun caught sight of them as they helped Jack away and was about to attack when Olsen appeared again, slashing at Rune's arms. Before disappearing again. Jenny and Helen would periodically stop to delay or block Taerun's attacks. Olsen would assist their escape, holding Taerun back. When he appeared with hot streaks of pink following. Olsen would appear in a plume of hot pink flames, assisting in their escape but the ninja could see his attacks weren't enough to make Rune focus on him. Come on. I need more power. More power. I need more power, Olsen growled, his hair instantly losing all its blonde color, turning a hot pink while his daggers thundered let's see. I need a different word. Okay, there we go. With pale rose. No. There we go. See the appeared above him. Planted his feet and pushed off as if a cannon had fired. Wilson shot down to Taerun in a streak of blushing light. Cuts spurted blood on Rune's arms as he tried to guard his face. All at once, He was thrown back by a forceful stab to his chest. Olsen's eyes glowed almost red, and his body seemed to vibrate with the amount of power flowing through him. The seal appeared again, and Olsen shot forward, unleashing slashes in sets of 8, when the glow abruptly stopped. Teyrun swiped him to the ground when Olsen slowed, then summoned fireballs on top of him. Olsen managed to scramble out of his muddy impression as the fire detonated where he had been a moment before. His legs felt heavy, and his arms felt stiff. His legs felt heavy, and his arms felt stiff, leaving him unable to avoid Teyrun's giant paw. Something like dark purple light enveloped Olsen before the strike made contact, the ground exploding into a muddy splash. A man dressed in black with a white and black mask held the exhausted Olsen in his arm, while readying 3 shurikens. As the man prepared the weapons, a horned being appeared next to them from a black and purple flame. Let's see. Okay, I'll allow it. You know, we don't have there aren't a ton of submissions, so you know, I'll allow it. Again, for most everybody here, for both Twitch and for YouTube, I'll kind of adjust the rules up there for you, those of you watching on YouTube. Most of these rules are created with the intent that in case there are a ton of submissions. If there aren't a lot, you know, just, you know, ask me about it and we'll see if we can go from there. But yeah, Losalor, if you would like, go for it. With a white and black mask held the exhausted Olsen in the book.
Seems simple enough.
All right, we got ourselves our 3rd submission of the night. Yay! Let's go, readers and writers and gamers alike. Coins of the vault all together. Nice and shiny coins. Oh boy. Don't know where that came from. Another side story from the Divine Corruption novel. This one about an entirely different demon on the opposite side of the conflict. Okay, so it's connected to the one you first brought up. Is that correct? All right, cool. So, let me do the thing over here. Give me a second. All right. So this is The Darkest Night, Part 1 by Losalor. It was a rare occurrence for the Dark Sun to find himself so terribly distracted from what he needed to be working on. It was crucial that he find some means of evening the playing field back out, or this long stalemate he'd held with Greco on the dispute over who was the true king of hell was going to end with less than ideal results. The entire fate of reality, not to mention his very life, hung in the balance, and if the words weren't blurring together, He was reading the same lines over and over without realizing it. He snapped the book. He was fruitlessly scavenging for any hint of inspiration or clue on how Greco managed to wield the holiest of relics without consequences, as if his lack of focus was somehow the book's fault. He all but shoved it aside and rubbed his temples. He'd give anything right now for his acolyte to come break the suffocating silence with some idle pratter or inappropriate pass. Alas, he was preoccupied, thus leaving him with the solitude he usually found himself desperately seeking. He reached not for his book, but his glass of hell ambrosia, taking a long drink. It was hastening his recovery, but it was also agitating the problem he was facing. His own pride getting in his way. He was the Dark Sun, the man who had every answer to any situation. He would find the answer to put them ahead, and by God, he'd ensure anyone who so much as began to doubt that he would... Easy, easy. That's the ambrosia. Calm yourself. He sat the glass down with a shakier hand than he'd like to admit to having. Were there anyone here beside himself, he'd have put the extra effort to hide it. But, for the moment, there was no one to perform for, so he allowed it. He had built the image of being unstoppable, untouchable, and all it would take was for one follower seeing that facade cracking for fear and doubt to spread like a virus through the ranks, and that would be just another blow in Greco's favor. He'd been too locked into this question. He needed to step back and focus on something else for a while, or he was going to drive himself mad on this. Or worse, find out the answer was in bold right in front of him, and he was too dense to realize it. He usually counted on his acolyte to pull him out of his own head, and likely, if he was here, it would have happened before he was ready to put a hole in his wall, but, alas, it was what it was. He wasn't sure if he was thankful or not for being self-aware enough to know damn well what exactly it was that was distracting him. Old ghosts coming back to haunt him, memories from a lifetime he'd left long ago but could never fully let go of. He couldn't really say what it was that brought it on this time. But whatever. One of those old memories started to come back to him. He dwelled on them. He wasn't like Zadoran. Never could be. It was part of what he liked about him. Opposites attracting or some such nonsense. The acolyte was the kind of person who kept moving onward, never stopping, never pausing, not even looking back. When something tried to drag him down, he didn't give it a second glance when he got back up and kept charging ahead. Living life like if he paused for a moment, he'd get drugged down and sink into the metaphoric abyss and drown. For as resilient as it made him, the Dark Sun wouldn't pretend that he didn't see the level of self-destruction it brought the other demons at times. He had a different approach. Maybe not better, just different, and more suited to himself. There was an art he could equate it to. Kintsugi, they called it long ago. Back when part of the Shinata region had been known as Japan. Taking broken pottery and repairing it with gold. Instead of trying to hide the cracks and breaks, accenting them with value and beauty. He would fall. He would occasionally break. But he would never stay shattered, never turn to dust. He would come back every time and become something greater than he was before. Of course, nowadays, thanks to the image he had painted the Dark Sun as, he couldn't afford to let anyone other than those closest to him ever see those rare times he broke. Those vulnerable moments of falling apart and shattering. To be fair, he had never been very forthcoming with such things, even when he had been alive. The last time he had involved 2 guns, one of which had been pointed at the back of his head, an empty dock, and a deal that was less a deal and more being told he'd dance to whatever tune Connor Bennett played if he wanted to live to see another day. That wasn't the ghost that was haunting him now. He couldn't even say that it was what had started him down this path. It just had been one of many moments that had undeniably formed the man he was now. After all the years, both alive as the man he once was, and now as the demon known as the Dark Sun, he was more gold than ceramic at this point, he'd imagined. That didn't matter, though. If he'd been broken 1,000 times, he'd break himself 1,000 more if it meant seeing his goals through to the end. There was too much at stake, and there had been too much lost already for him to even entertain backing down now. He didn't have the strength to spare to rewind, to put himself back in that moment, not while he was recovering. He'd never hear the end of it from Zidoran, if he strained himself in such a way. It was just as well, though, because it was one of several moments in his life that he had relived over enough times that had become etched to the finest detail into his memory. Another night, another gun. Only that time he'd wished it had stayed pointed at him. He could have maybe controlled the situation if it had been. 2 lives ended, only one who deserved it. It hadn't been the night that started him on this path. No, he had long been walking that dark road by then. Not the start, but the death of any chance of him ever turning back, as he made a promise to that innocent babe who would never know her mother. All right. Let's get some claps in the chat for Losilor over here. And some dragon hearts. Yeah, let's go. Very nice, very nice. Hold on. Did I change anything? I don't think so. All right. So, Losilor. Losi, not right melodrama. Challenge level impossible. So, Losi, is this particular story going to be released anywhere on the internet, or is it just one of those ones you've been working on for a while and it's just kind of in the background of stuff that you have collected over the years and created? Harry Potter, because all I got to do is snap his twig, and then he's powerless. Short story is going to be worked into the main story. Divine Corruption is a series I'm in the middle of writing and I plan on. Oh, nice! And by the way, Jazz My Pants, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good evening. And once you snap Harry Potter's branch, he's powerless. You punch him, and he's done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Peter Parker, on the other hand, yeah, that dude's a little harder to get a hold of. Because, in order to get rid of Peter Parker, you had to get an Infinity Gauntlet. Not only that, but Peter Parker also pretty much holds back the entire time. And there was the one more recent comic where he decided to just take himself off the leash and absolutely demolish, what was his name? It was the big, what was his name? I forget what his name was. He was a big gangster dude. It was like 3 times Peter's size, but he just absolutely demolished him when he decided not to hold back anymore. And then at the very end, he basically told him, look, Kingpin, yes, thank you very much. Basically told him, look, the only reason you're still breathing is because I decided to stop. So, yeah, I would not want to take on Peter Parker. Especially not Peter Parker Prime. That dude would... No. All right, cool, Jazz Pants. Jazz Pants. Well, yeah, we'll just call you Jazz Pants, therefore. That is your name now. You are Jazz Pants! Man, I know your name is Jazz My Pants, but for whatever reason, it's now stuck in my brain. You are Jazz Pants. Could match Peter's banter. He'll probably at least be entertained and not completely destroy you. But yeah, I'd still rather fight Harry Potter than Peter any day. Yeah, and again, like I said, with Harry Potter, as long as you can dodge the spells enough, all you got to do is kind of weave back and forth, and then you just reach up, break the stick, and now he's powerless. I mean, maybe not powerless, because he could still try to use his finger, but, pretty much... Oh! Jazz My Pants! Welcome to the vault! You are the newest shiny coin, and I hope you're at least mildly entertained by what you see from here on out. Use his favorite spell, disarm him, and then break the twig. There you go, problem solved. Either that, or maybe find some way, I don't know, can spells be reflected in the Harry Potter universe? If you just get, a really shiny mirror, and just, use it kind of like a shield, it's oh, a spell, boing, and a spell, boing, 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 crack. Yeah, or, whatever it is, basically just reflect them in different directions. And, you hear, bullets kind of, ricocheting. And, knock his glasses off, crack the stick. And then, oh, by the way, grab his shirt. Done. I always kind of like the thought of, a mage is I may be out of spells, and he puts up his fists. I know you guys can't see it, what I'm doing, but puts his He puts his fists up and goes, I may be out of spells, but I'm not out of options. Oh, probably.
Let's see.
Oh man, I don't know where that came from. Pulling Emmett Shelch. I am a sorcerer of Eld. Whips out a clock, but pulling a trigger is less effort. Omar Rios C3W, welcome over on the YouTube side of things. How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a good evening. We were just having a conversation over here from one of the newest coins of the vault over on Twitch. The question was, would you rather face Peter Parker or Harry Potter? Would you rather fight Peter Parker or Harry Potter? Peter Parker or Harry Potter? That is the question of the moment. And so far, my answer was I'd fight Harry Potter because it would be easy enough to just reach up, or like, if you could dodge the spells, reach up, grab the stick, smack it, or snap it in half, and then punch him out. Done. Fight over with. Peter Parker, on the other hand, the dude can hold together a medium-sized, what is it? Ferry, fully loaded, with people and cars on it. Peter posted her Harry's. I could just see it now. One of them trying to sing the other one to death, and the other one just running up and putting post-it notes all over his face. Trench into the ground. So, Pants. What are you up to this evening? And do you write stories, or just here to check out stuff, see what's going on? How you doing, Omar? How's stuff going? Hey. Thanks to write poems, but they suck trying to learn any way I can. Oh heck, man! Don't worry about it. I could probably go back in my look on some of my stuff that I done, and I do have quite a few poems I wrote from way back in the day. You know, being edgy teen. But yeah, they're probably just as bad as I remember. But yeah. Nice, Omar. Melissa! Welcome. How you doing this evening? So an arrow made of wind landed at his feet. Huh. Wind. And exploded at Rune's feet. And for the YouTube audience, I'm sorry that maybe it takes me a second or two to like respond to your chats over here. There is a little bit of a delay between when I actually see stuff and when it actually, comes through when I actually responded to your stuff. I do see it pretty quickly, but it just takes a second to actually get to your stream over on YouTube. So, yeah. Oops. So for those of you on YouTube, Omar and Melissa, do either one of you write stories? And if so, care to share on what they are about? If not, that's fine too. If you're here for a good time, just as well. Okay. Rune snarled as he righted himself, until the man in black kicked Rune's feet, throwing him to his back. 4 swords of light descended from the sky, pinning Rune to the ground as a ring of fire roared into existence around him. A man dressed in blue fell from the air, his fist and body radiating lime green threads of electricity.
Crash Hawk smash!
Men shouted. Might also be NaNoWriMo remnants. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I would try to participate in that, but just the way the cadence of my life doesn't exactly give very much room to actually do that and do it well. I basically have, at least the way things are running, I pretty much have like 2 days to myself out of the week, and I try to get what I can done as much as I can, and it just sometimes it doesn't work. So, well, technically 4 days. But it's just a lot of stuff. I wrote one poem in my life remotely worth anything. Teachers and parents loved it. Thought it was this deep thing about breaking cycles of abuse from generational trauma. I was not willing to admit it was written originally for a Yu-Gi-Oh fanfic about a side character. Oh boy. Don't you just love that when somebody reads your stuff and they dig so far into it? Pharaoh, did you write this? And I remember hearing one story. This guy, he was in art class, and apparently he drew a scene from, what was it? It was a movie that recently came out. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the guy, he was in it was like set in the 30s. I can't remember. It wasn't Wolf of Wall Street. It was some other movie. I can't remember right off the top of my head. That's beside the point. The guy drew the kid drew the guy in a car sitting at a red light, but he didn't draw him with any hands. So the teacher was like taking his drawing and telling him how, the character feels powerless because he doesn't have any hands. There's nothing he can do. And the kid leaned over to his art partner and basically just says, I just can't draw hands. That's all it was. There was nothing deep about it. You just couldn't draw hands. I can't let them know this was just me trying to write an edgy fanfic about Weevil. Weevil! I want to write a character where he is such a good artist, he believes his art is trying to attack. Think SpongeBob and Doodlebob. Okay. If you get a chance, there is... I mean, again, it's only one episode in many, but it might help you give some inspirations and stuff. Look up... What was it? I need to... Just a second. If you look up... Some of you may know the series, some maybe not. A series called Inuyasha. It's one of the older ones. That's way out there. But if you look up an episode called, let's see, it's from season 1, episode 16, I believe. I think it is. 15, 16. No, excuse me, 17. Season 1, episode 17, Cursed Ink of the Hell Painter. It basically does a kind of a version of what you were talking about, Jazz. So, yeah, I mean, you could look it up for an inspiration of some kind. What was it? I need to... But yeah, try looking that one up. It at least may give you some inspiration or something like that. There's a whole thing where basically ink was coming to life from this guy's paintings and was trying to like do his own will or something like that. But it might give you some inspiration of where to kind of take it from there, I guess. I just love the Frankenstein's monster and the idea of a creator being afraid of his creations. Ah. All right. Well, my freshly new coins, thank you for coming, and that is where I'm going to have to wrap it up for the evening. My throat is just about had it, and I'm getting kind of tired, and I've got stuff I got to do tomorrow. So, once again, big welcome to M. Blover for becoming a new coin in the vault over on YouTube, and welcome to Jazz My Pants, who is both of which are new shiny coins in the vault, and I hope you both are at least mildly entertained by what you see from here on out. This coming Sunday, the stream is actually, normally I would do the stream at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but because there are a number of things happening that day, instead I am going to be running the stream at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to catch it, come on by, and we will be going through the Mo Xuan storyline, Part 3. I do have the entire story open for the entire thing, and we'll probably be playing through the last little bit as well as the last little bit that comes from the end of the Arcane River. After that, yeah, that should be it on that. And then happening on Wednesday, starting at around 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be doing some more work on MapleStory, the novel Legends of Osiria. This is book 4 in the series. And what we were working on was part of book 2. So, I'm doing a lot of work both on the sides. Human, welcome. I'm just kind of wrapping up, man. Sorry you caught me right at the end. But, This is what we're going to be working on Wednesday, and then next week we're going to be doing it again some more, opening up the stream to read some more of you guys' story. All right, so what's your question, man? But yeah, for everybody there, I hope to see you on the next streams. Neither one for me. I don't watch soccer. But anyways, thank you for coming, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
There's a feeling deep inside. Let it be your prayer. Show me the power you can hide.
Thanks everyone for coming to the stream, and I hope to see you again next time. If you want to catch whenever I go live, subscribe or follow to become a coin of the vault so you never miss a thing. Wherever you're viewing from, have a look around my YouTube channel for more stuff, including the audiobooks of MapleStory the novel Sacred Tears, Sly Cooper Rise of Vexen, and Arcane. Each story is fully voice acted with sound effects and background music so that you can sit down and watch or listen to while you go about your day. You can also find all kinds of previous storylines from MapleStory that I've already done. So, until next time, my friends.
Never be afraid to fall. Throw yourself into it. Victory's waiting for you. Go fight, show your energy. Don't slow down, no time to wait. Nothing's stopping you now. It's gonna be your day. Hopes and wishes never fade. Fight to make them stronger. Nothing will take them from you.